Well, technically a drake. Or, as I'm sure someone will be quick to point out, a Warvin, or Wervin, or however you pronounce that, since he doesn't have 4 limbs, he just has wings instead of 4 limbs. In here is a shield, which isn't great, but it's better than some of the starting shields. Over here is a bonfire, which we will light, but not sit at quite yet. So I want to go over and say hello to those lovely fellows over here, because they are guarding a shop. Guarding, maybe not guarding. But they are standing around next to a shop entrance. And that shop entrance is right there. There's a third guy here, hiding very ineffectually. And the shop itself is out here.
Well now, you seem to have your wits about you, hmm?
This man,
Then you are a welcome customer.
stroking his wooden tub. Well, sort of. Stroking the area above his wooden tub. Throwing knives. In Dark Souls 2, throwing knives were great. They did tons of damage, and they were a nice quick alternative to a bow. But in this game, they don't do crap. The residence key would normally open doors around here, but we don't need it, because we have the master key. Bottomless box allows inventory management, allows you to dump stuff off at the bonfire. Chain armor. That might be a good alternative for us. Until we can wear the
Thank you,
the actual good armor we found. Will it put us over? It will. Can I remedy that by removing my helmet? I can. Well, then we'll go with this. A good old historical look. Well, as historical as a fat, desiccated smurf can be. We also make, I don't know if you can hear it there, you'll probably hear nothing but it after I've pointed it out. Again, our back ties are straining. But there is a lovely bit of sound design with the clinking of the armor. You can hear all that armor making a nice jingle jangle that actually is different if you're walking or if you're running. I think it's even different if you're sprinting. Yep. That is one of the things about Dark Souls and about Souls games in general, or at least Miyazaki Souls games. The little details, especially with handling stuff like music and sound effects, are really spot on and incredibly detailed, and it really just shows a lot of work and effort put into making everything just right. Everything kind of makes sense. Even in something like this shield design, one of the things I like about it is the fact that it is damaged. Excuse me. Since you got this off of somebody by stealing it from them, it is a shield that looks used. It is not a brand new, nice, lovely shield. Although it has been pointed out that our character uses shields in the exact wrong way. Because normally a shield would be strapped to your forearm. You wouldn't be holding it in by a little handle like that. I guess the Japanese don't know much about traditional European shield designs. So let's go out here. Let's not get hit by that. Not get hit by that. do a quick run across this bridge so we don't get firebombed. Get into the room here. Down these 3 guys, nice and easy. As you can see, upgrading your weapons. Well, I don't suppose you have anything for comparison because I killed these guys the first time I saw them. But upgrading your weapons makes a huge difference. Doing as much damage as you can and killing people in 1 or 2 hits so you can quickly clear out groups is invaluable. This is a shortcut gate to a later area. Howdy. Nice try. You two. Leave me goodies, no. In here, we have black firebombs. And black firebombs are essentially the same as firebombs, which are little flame grenades, but are much stronger. These are a bunch of healing items for poison and bleeding. Bleeding, poison. Bleeding, removing bleeding is kind of useless for, I think, most people. There's only one instance I can actually think of where removing bleeding would be useful, and that's if you're using a weapon with life drain, I think it was. I'm not sure what I can't remember the name. There are a handful of weapons who have a very powerful bleeding effect. They're all weapons to do with a boss named Priscilla. And the thing about it is that while they have incredibly powerful bleeding effects, they cause bleeding to the user as well. Less bleeding, obviously, but it still causes bleeding to you whenever you hit with them. So if you're using those weapons, I can kind of understand the use of anti-bleeding items to reduce your buildup when it gets close to giving you the bleeding effect. Some nice blocked off chimneys for some reason. I saw some, yeah. Someone fell down here and left us a firebomb. Lovely. Firebombs are useful things, especially here in the early game. They have a base damage, which means that they don't scale with any stat. So now in the beginning, when your stats are low, they're very useful for a quick and relatively high amount of damage. Lightning resin there I picked up. Coats your weapon in a temporary elemental boost, damage boost, and oop, there we are. Another humanity there. You can get humanity sometimes just randomly from killing people, and you can tell because the little soul coming into animation like that has a dark center bit. My stab is better than you, sirs. Now then, down that-er ways, is an enemy that we saw earlier, a Black Knight. He is guarding a really quite entirely worthless ring. So he's rather dangerous, so we're just going to avoid him for the moment. Hey, look, a trap. Sir, I said, hey, look, a trap. Thank you. That's a one-time trap. Nope. It's a one-time trap. Deals a good amount of damage, but... yeah. This is the door at the top of the watchtower. Down here, quite a ways down, actually, is the room in which we fought Havel the Rock. The large fellow in heavy armor wielding a dragon's tooth. Right there. And normally what you would do is fight through this section of the game, the Undead Burg, not be able to open this door when you first come across it, and then eventually you would end up down there in the undead, or up there, I suppose, in the undead parish, and you would find the basement watchtower key after beating the Moonlight Butterfly, and then be able to open a shortcut from the Darkroot Garden area to this area. There is a lizard around here. It's in these barrels, I think. There you are. One hit. Lovely. 2 large Titanite shards. Also lovely. It's not enough to level up this weapon, is it? I can't remember. I'm used to the Dark Souls 2 and Demon Souls numbers. It's been so long since I played this one. Anyway. Out here, past this fog gate, is our first, well, not first boss, but the first boss you would normally fight if you were coming through here without the Master Key. Let's go up here. Oh, darn. These lovely fellows will do nothing but shoot arrows into your ass if you don't deal with them here. What I am going to do is I know... Oh, I already have that whip. I'm going to take off the binoculars, number 1. And I think I'll take off these. Is I am going to put this lightning resin on my sword. Alright. I was doing the Dark Souls 2 thing of holding down and pressing the run button as opposed to just pressing the run button to slide down there. Aren't we lovely? I'm going to get the boss to appear, run back up there, put lightning on my sword, and then drop onto his head to do as much damage as I possibly can with my first attack. I'm gonna two-hand it too, even though I don't think this weapon scales very well at all with strength. Oh no, it does not. Although it requires a fairly good amount to use. Rapier, stone. I guess the S-Stock requires that amount. Alright, never mind. It's been too long since I've seen the numbers on these things. I've lost my sense of proportion. Just like every man who's ever posted a dick pic. Alright. There we are. Lovely. Well, that was embarrassingly easy, wasn't it? Yeah, you can tell he is really meant to be fought with a plus-nothing weapon. Oh, and probably not with this, lovely coating of a bit glitchy on this particular very thin, quickly moving weapon. Out there, good old Drake Bridge, where a mediocre rapper attacks you. And this is everyone's favorite NPC, who I am just giving the tip right now of that sword, just giving the tip right into his ribs. Solaire.
Ah, hello. You don't look hollow, far from it. I am Solaire of Astora, an adherent of the Lord of Sunlight. Now that I am undead, I have come to this great land, the birthplace of Lord Gwyn, to seek my very own son. Do you find that strange? Well, you should. No need to hide your reaction. I get that look all the time.
What else do you have to say for us, you fine, green... Are you wearing part of a bush on your shoulders?
Oh, aha. So I didn't scare you.
Nope.
I have a proposition.
Have you seen me? Surprised I didn't scare you.
way I see it, our fates appear to be intertwined. In a land brimming with hollows, could that really be mere chance? So what do you say? Why not help one another on this lonely journey?
Oh, yes, of course.
It pleases me greatly. Well then, take this.
This is the white science-dope stone that allows
We
us
are
to
in
be
this
summoned
strange
into other
being
people's
in a
games
strange
to
land.
provide help to
The
them.
flow of time itself is convoluted, with heroes centuries old phasing in and out. The very fabric wavers, and relations shift and obscure. There's no telling how much longer your world and mine will remain in contact. But use this to summon one another as spirits, cross the gaps between the worlds, and engage in jolly cooperation. Of course, we are not the only ones engaged in this, but I am a warrior of the sun. Spot my summon signature easily by its brilliant aura. If you miss it, you must be blind.
We do actually appear to be somewhat extra-dimensional here on this floating sky castle.
Oh, hello there. The sun is a wondrous body, like a magnificent father.
There's the line that
If only
everyone
I could be
thought
so
was a clue
grossly
towards
incandescent.
his kinship to Gwyn, but no, just a fanboy. We'll leave Solaire be. He does have a quite good shield, which is lovely, a lovely, almost Spartan-looking round shield with his sign on it. And his armor's pretty good too, if I remember right. But we won't horribly murder him. For now. Hello, floating sign. Now, let's do this real fast. Let's remove that, and that, and that. And instead, put on our good old binoculars. Now, this is a part of the game that a lot of people whined about. A lot of people said it wasn't fair. Earlier, in the original release of the game, the dragon here did a hell of a lot more damage. Just a crazy amount. It would normally, I think, kill everybody in one hit. That was scaled back through patches, and by now, in this version, he won't kill you even if you're at the base level health and naked. But he will do a good amount of damage anyway. And as per people saying this is unfair and like there's no way you can know it's coming, there are an awful lot of burnt corpses and black spots on this bridge, wouldn't you say? So let's see if we can lure him without getting ourselves cooked. Hi, over here. So there you go. Useful. By the way, doing that is actually one of the early game ways to... Didn't notice that we appear to have a weird texture effect there. Huh. Got some floating blocks. No, I guess they're just sticking out a bit. Using him to kill all the hollows on this bridge and then resting at a bonfire respawning and running up here to trick him into killing all of them again over and over is a good way to grind up some souls quick and easy in the early game. It doesn't get you much, but in the early game you don't need much to level up. So let's do this real fast. Actually, we don't need to run down this bridge. He doesn't get angry at you until you're on here for an enormous amount of time, or you go too close to him. Down here, down this ladder that we kicked down to make a shortcut, is the Undead Berg bonfire. Let's see if we can level up our endurance a bit more. Go to gumdrops. We can. We're up to 82. Can we wear our good armor yet? We cannot. We are still far too fat. What are we wearing? How close are we, though? 23, 82. I don't know. Let's remove that. Nope, still can. Well, we will stay with our chain armor for now, then. Unfortunate, but it has to do. We will switch up to these gauntlets, though. Lovely. I don't suppose where am I on my wood there? Yeah, I'm nowhere near strong enough, I think, to be wearing the pants. How heavy are these? 3 Elite Knight Elite Knight leggings are literally double that. Plus 1. So, we stick with these for now. Dark Souls 2, for all its faults, did implement the fast climbing of ladders, which was nice. Now, the normal way to do this would be to go through there. And when we go through there, it leads us past some rats, up the ladder, and up there. But let's try to do this the fancy way. Oh, geez. Bit early there. I was a smidge early. So what we need to do is run into that area there. There's a bonfire there and a lever to open a gate. How we're gonna do that is by tricking this asshole down here, and then just running in. And quickly sitting, quickly sitting. Whew. Okay. Out here is this statue, which if you have enough faith, can pray to join the Warriors of the Sun, I believe it is. Everyone calls them Sun Bros, because their entire thing is doing co-op. Eat shit, Mr. Random Hollow. I choose to kill you and only you. Go out here and quickly kill these guys so we can pick up these items to show them off. One, I think, is just a soul. Ow. Yep. The second one over here is a weapon called a claymore. A claymore is a sword that is somewhere between a normal longsword and... we go with 2 hands. It's somewhere between a normal longsword and the ridiculously sized Zweihander. It is a very good quality build weapon. As you can see, it scales CC with both strength and dex. So while it is not it has a much slower attack than I can remember. While it is not in any way a great stat weapon for people who have a lot of one stat, it is a fairly good mid-ground between super heavy weapons and the quick lighter ones. I like the Dark Souls 2 iteration of it better, though. I keep saying Dark Souls 2 has many faults, but I do like a lot of the stuff that it does, and a lot of the weapons and such in it. I think where Dark Souls 2 really failed was a lot of the things not having to do with combat specifically, more having to do with things like lore, level design, enemy layout, enemy design, that sort of stuff. The inherent mechanics of the character were alright. Although soul memory, well, a valiant attempt to stop people from abusing soul levels in order to, whatchamacallit, twink themselves out, and murder a bunch of newbies with super upgraded armor. While a valiant attempt to stop that ended up being more of a nuisance for everybody, because it prevented you from fighting the bosses you wanted to fight in co-op when you wanted to fight them. A lot of people, I know myself included, enjoyed kind of camping out a bonfire for a while and fighting the same boss several times. There we go. Another Black Knight down. We're gonna rest real fast. I mean, I used up a lot of my health on that. And we're about to come up to everyone's favorite early game mini-boss, the Boar. Hopefully, with our 10 humanity, we'll manage to get his lovely item that he has a chance to drop. Trying to remember how close I have to be for him to get angry. I think I'm gonna do this. Alright, here it is. Let him do what he feels like down there while we deal with these people. Oh jeez. You can hear those bolts. Okay. Making my life hard, archers. As you can tell, since I've taken I believe the correct metric unit is a Boromir worth of arrows to the chest, but I haven't flinched from them, this chain armor has a bit of poise to it. Alluring skulls are actually a very useful item for this enemy here. Not the hollow attempting a proctology exam on that boar, but for you as a character, for you fighting that boar, because the boar there can be tricked with this skull into running into that flame, and that boar, though covered in armor, that makes it very hard to hurt him via normal smacking, is nice and easily injured by running headlong into a fire. Let's see if we can... There we go. Do it again, please. Knock your friend into there. Lovely. Oops. Wasn't the exact angle I wanted. But he's low on health. Let's see if we can do this instead of wasting our last one with a couple of firebombs. Yeah. And our last one, softball pitch.